You don't want to use that cafe behind us? No? Let's carry on then. Yeah. The what? Okay. It goes up for a lookout up there.
Oh. same right up to the head of the harbour. So when you go through those islands here, you're about halfway up the harbour there. The channel is 8 metres from there up to the city.
Yeah.
So it's just a medium-sized ship to make it all the way to the head of the harbour.
Oh.
But from the islands going all the way up, there's a rock wall that is right next to the channel. It's called a half-tide wall that was built back in the 1880s. As were they, built back in the 1880s.
Wow.
So a long time ago, they, had a lot of available labour and wealth in the city back then too, with the, the gold fields, the intensive industry of the gold fields. And so they brought prisoners here from the North Island and from the central Otago to construct these rock walls, and they've survived this long and still working to that purpose today. But yes, water rushing in, and of course with it, sand. You see these sand flats being covered up now. 1/3 of the harbour is sand flat at low tide. So it really changes the look of the harbour. At high tide, you wouldn't know it. These beaches shrink almost to nothing.
Yeah.
Is that artificial? Would this harbour not have so much sand if it wasn't for the narrow entrance?
Yeah, I think it would probably have even more.
Right.
Yeah. So it just keeps coming past the coast. We've got heaps of sand on this current that comes close to shore running north, the Southland current.
Yeah.
Of course, just downstream and down the coastline a little bit is Kilda River mouth.
Oh,
the largest river. And even with the hydroelectric dams, there's still lots of sediment washes out. It's caught in this north running current and comes up this way and then in with the tide. So we have a lot of sediment that keeps coming in. And, the whole harbour's really, it's not a mud bottom, it's a sand bottom.
Right.
And that's all the Monarch sails over all day is sand pretty much.
That's cool.
Yeah. But of course behind the sand and beneath it even is the volcanic past and the lava flows. We've got here on our left and ahead those 3 volcanic cones which were active back in the 9 to maybe 15 million years ago.
They're not active now.
Oh man, thank goodness. No, no. So 9 million years now of erosion, and so this landscape we see is really weathered, substantially given it the shape it does today. There's another big geological feature too, though, the fault line. It runs right down the length of the harbour, the Octagon fault, and it might not have moved for 1,000 years or so. But over the millions of years of movement, it's been a lateral shift. So the old volcano, the bigger volcano that used to stand behind us, halfway down the harbour, around where those islands are, there used to be a kilometre high volcano there at 10 million years ago. So it's been shattered really, split in two by the movements of that Octagon fault, and then the weathering effects have taken over, and it's now not very easy to see. Just in some vantage points it's obvious where it was, but mostly not. But here's one of the results of its actions there, the Harrington Point, an old lava flow.
Is that a gun turret from the war or something?
Yeah, it's a sentry post. We've got searchlight bunkers, and the gun pits were just around the corner. So they had 3-inch guns, and so reasonable size. I guess that might have been a machine gun post too or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 4 bunkers, as we'll see, as we keep coming around, were all holding searchlights to look across the Narrows, and a couple of guns up higher on the road. So yeah, this is really deep here in the Narrows. So we're probably about 20 metres deep here, even close in by the rocks here. It's really quite deep thanks to that fast-moving flow.
It's about half tide at the moment.
Yeah, is it? Did you?
I'm not sure.
I think
Yeah, it was.
low tide was about 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, 1.
Yeah. So
not the highest movement yet. Are they able to go? Yeah.
Good place. Fishermen are often there in the weekends,
Wow.
casting off into the deep water. Of course, they get salmon in the harbour, which everyone's after.
Wow.
Yeah, salmon come in here, and that's the trophy fish.
Yeah.
But for 90 species, it's a lot of flat fish with a sandy bottom, so flounder and sole. but you know, Kauai and cod, blue cod, red cod,
Wow.
girded,
Blue
Kauai.
cod.
Blue cod.
Blue cod?
There is blue cod in the harbour too, but just really in one spot. There's a big
Oh.
deep hole.
Oh,
About
they're deep water fish, aren't they?
35 metres it's there. And but these are our first albatross. Well, there's a couple up there over the headland. It's
Oh,
a
wow.
building on top of the hill.
Yes.
And up to the left
Oh,
there's
wow.
a couple over the ridge line there. So a 3.2 metre wingspan, a 10-foot wingspan.
That's
Wow.
huge.
Yeah, maybe third or fourth largest seabird, the northern royal albatross. They've been nesting up there maybe for 100 years, successfully for about 80. And just coming really in these more recent times, if you like, thanks to the abandonment of the defences that were up there. There used to be guns and sentry posts and things up there too in earlier times, in the 1880s.
Why are they called the northern albatross?
Well, there's a southern royal as well. So these are, you know, in the northern range. I guess if you come from northern New Zealand, you think you're in the south.
Yeah.
But, you know, so yeah, the other southern royals nest in the sub-Antarctic islands, further south. So this is relatively north.
Right.
This is just a small part of the population that nests here. The rest nest out on the Chathams, which is again a little bit more.
Yeah.
So 20,000 all told of these northern royal albatross. This headland, I should just say, was a Maori pa for Ngāi Tahu. It was the largest pa in the South Island for years when Europeans first arrived. Pukakura it was called, so it's quite a bit of Maori history here as well. And then in the 1880s, the Europeans built their defences, and in the First World War particularly. So the headland's been changed with people, and it's ironic that's made it more suitable for nesting albatross.
Yeah.
The big vegetation's cleared, you see the paths, and as we come round you'll see the terraces, you know, defensive terraces and things, gun pits and things, so hence yeah, good nesting and landing and take-off sites. So they established here and doing well since. There's a couple of tiny little chicks up there, but they're so hard to see really. We've got 33 chicks up on the hill, and the rest are around the corner, which are a lot easier to see. On this path here, beneath the building, beneath the rocks, this path, you go along on the left, there's a tiny little white diver sitting really low, about halfway along that face towards the ridge line. But as we get closer, it gets harder and harder to see. I just sort of wait until we come around the corner and you'll see, you know.
Can you put that in your pocket?
Are they shags?
Yes, they are, those ones on these mounds, yeah. Those, and one in the water, and up on this cliff face too. So
Yeah.
that's a type of shag that lives just in the coast of Otago. So a rare one, the Otago shag, they call them. They come in two morphs, so there's all black and there's a black and white morph. And yeah, they make those nesting mounds permanent structures. They build them up, like add to them each year, each spring, like
Oh,
a
all
fresh
those
lining.
bumps in the ground.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. So a bit of guano, bit of
Yeah.
grass, and a bit of mud. Here's albatross, a couple of albies just ahead there, and a bit
Whoa.
lower
Yeah,
down.
it's huge. Right? What do they use the mounds for, sir?
There's a hollow in the top, and that's where they lay the eggs.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So they roost there through the, you know, through the night, and they'll nest in there in the spring. September they lay their eggs. These Otago shags are deep divers, and they tend just to do their fishing through the middle of the day when the sun is high in the sky.
Right.
They dive 30 metres, hold their breath 3 minutes, and they you know, need the more light down low. So they're often coming home to roost quite early, you know, in the or I should say late in the afternoon. They'll all be back, and they don't leave until sort of late in the morning. The Otago shags, I should say, are pink-footed. They have pink feet, blue eyes, as they're breeding. There's one of the
Bye-bye.
Take
Yep.
your time. Anyway.
Okay.
Doing like after a day or two, because they scrub the tables and carry everything and stuff. Right?
Oh, cool. That's nice.
On the second page.
Bye-bye.
Take
Yep.
your time. Anyway.
Okay.
Doing like after a day or two, because they scrub the tables and carry everything and stuff. Right?
Oh, cool.